article that I found. This is in Accounting Today. Taxpayer data still at risk at IRS, says the TIGTA, which is, as I mentioned, the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. That's what their title is. And they came out, it was their report. So let's read this a little bit. I'm going to look a little report too. The report's 92 pages. Obviously I'm not going to go through the whole report, but there is something on that, very summary page that I want to point out, because they talk about the numbers from the IRS, what they collect, and the size of the IRS and things like that. And I want to point that out. So the Internal Revenue Service continues to make progress with its information technology systems and policies, according to a new report, but risks to taxpayer data remain. The 92-page report from the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, which is based on an annual audit mandated by the IRS Restructuring and Reform Act of 1998. This was, very important act that they tried to. This one they started going after the IRS, and it was only after this that all the scandals broke through. Also reiterated the importance of modernizing the agency's IT infrastructure and boosting its protections against cyber attacks and identity thieves. They have all of our information. If cyber attacks reveal all of this information to the thieves, nobody's safe, and that's one of the big problems. And we know that recently the IRS, or we don't know for sure it was the IRS. I don't know who else it could have come from, but all of the tax returns of the very wealthy in our nation were revealed. Well, how did they get them? Who else has everybody's tax returns? I can only think of one entity in the federal government that does that. So that's where I'm thinking. Two of the five areas of the IRS's cyber security framework were rated not effective. So that's government easy. It stinks. Okay, namely its ability to identify its cyber security risks and its ability to detect cybersecurity incidents. So once there's an incident, they don't even want to know it had happened, because then they have to tell everybody. So they prefer not to know what's happening. In both areas, the report says that the IRS has defined policies, procedures, and strategies, but that they were not consistently implemented, leaving taxpayer information at risk, to say the least. The IRS was rated effective in the other three function areas: the ability to protect against crypto cybersecurity risks, to respond to them, and to recover from them, though its efforts had not been optimized, according to the report. The trillions of dollars that flow through the IRS each year make it an attractive target for criminals who want to exploit the tax system in various ways for personal gain, the report stated. The proliferation of stolen personally identifiable information poses a significant threat to tax administration by making it difficult for the IRS to distinguish legitimate taxpayers from fraudsters. I got to say that as a tax professional, trying to get information from the IRS, it's very difficult. They have a lot of policies in place that make it almost impossible for the legitimate people to get the information. But when you're going through crypto or the cyber attack and you're going around them, it doesn't really matter what they have in place, because they go around it. When you're like myself and you have to follow the rules are very difficult. And they make it, again, I've been having a very difficult time getting information from my clients. It is frustrating. And you follow all the rules, they find something that they say that was not consistent. Four people at the IRS will say everything's fine. A fifth person will say no, and now it's not. Okay, so who knows what their strategies are or what their standards are, because they don't share them. Let's skip to the next. To better assess the security and privacy of taxpayer data, the report conducted 4 audits of different IRS systems. Its review of the agency's ability to validate transcript requests for its Income Verification Express service found that the IRS cannot effectively authenticate electronic taxpayer signatures on Form 4506T, request for transcript of tax return, and that most program participants were not fulfilling certain required validation requirements. Again, they're so technical and nitpicky. Again, I would say Maybe they have to be. And again, that's what they say, and they're not following all their rules. They seem to follow all the rules when I'm trying to do something. On the other hand, the reviews found that most IRS laptops and desktops were wiped clean of all data before disposal. Well, I think that's pretty standard. Most required security controls were in place for the Get My Payment application that the agency's Information Sharing and Analysis Center complied with in the appropriate tax information laws and included privacy controls to protect taxpayer data. Okay, catching up with the times. The reliance on legacy systems, that means old, and aged hardware and software, and its use of outdated programming languages pose significant risk to the IRS's ability to deliver its mission. The report warned, modernizing the IRS's computer systems has been a persistent challenge for many years and will likely remain a challenge for the foreseeable future. Of course it will. You know what they're going to tell you? They don't have enough money. That's what they're going to tell you. It highlighted technology-related obstacles to the service's ability to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me interrupt here and say that if they came to my office and audited, and they can, and they found an error, and I told them I just didn't have the money to do the things that they wanted me to do, that would not be adequate for them. But yet, that's the excuse they want to tell us when they can't keep when they can't protect our data. They say, well, they just don't have the money. And so if I said that wouldn't be adequate in my office. We do all we can to protect the data. We take extra steps to do so, which is the number of employees reporting from approximately 27,500 to 41,000 in the middle of 2 weeks in March, and rising further to as many as 60,000 by the end of September. However, the IRS has hampered in leveraging telework by its limited ability to issue laptops and other equipment to employees who weren't already in the telework system, according to the report, which also noted that the IRS manager cited help desk delays, issues with virtual private networks, and SharePoint sites not working. The IRS is currently in the midst of 2-3-year phases of the 6-year IT modernization roadmap. In 2021, its budget was approximately, and this was $11.9 billion, with roughly $4.5 billion for IT investments. Of the latter, $1.8 billion was intended to fund the new responsibilities, many of them related to the coronavirus pandemic that Congress has laid out in the service. $4.5 billion a year, and they tell you they don't have enough money to take care of the of data protection.